the most important thing that I've learned in terms of investing and being safe with your money, because like nobody cares about your money more than you do, as it should be. Nobody should care more about our health than ourselves. Ultimately, we really have to be responsible for our money. That doesn't mean that we're going to become like the best investors in the world, which kudos to you if you are. Just the basic things in order to make sure that you're not losing your money, which is number one rule from Warren Buffett is never lose money. Rule number two is check rule number one. Why does it happen? If you have $100 and you lose 50% of that in a bet in in investing, then you get $50, right? But if you say, okay, so then I just have to make that 50% back. Well, 50% of 50 is 25, so you'd have $75 instead of 100, which you initially started. Therefore, to make the money, it's just harder. It just can take longer. It's not as easy as just protecting the money in the first place. Another thing that we should understand is that we should invest today. And it doesn't matter if you think, but like, I need to see whether, markets add. Yes, of course, they're important. But even if this is a lovely graph that helped me understand things better. It's like if you have the perfect timing, say you put money at the right time and take out money if you want to, although my strategy is always always hold in like sound investments, because and the important thing is that you have diversification in your asset allocation. Basically that just means that, for instance, I'll go back to this, but so basically if like my expertise, for instance, is real estate, and then if I only invest in things to do with real estate, then I am at a huge disadvantage, because inevitably one of the sides of the economy is going to crash. And if it's real estate, then I'm in a terrible position because I've just lost everything, right? So the most important thing, again, we're going back to rule number one, never lose money, is diversifying. So even if the real estate market goes down, and even if a lot of your investment is in that, if you've been smart, which is what we're discussing right now, and then you put some money in crypto, some money in commodities, some money in like stocks of other companies, blah 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 blah, and then which I can share later what that diversified portfolio is according to Paul Tudor Jones, which was was very kind to give it to us. Point is, then you have the diversification, and in that case you are being safe, which is the most important thing. Like right now, one of my really close loved ones is only investing in crypto. That's crazy. Like, to me it is. Like, that doesn't mean don't invest in crypto. It means please invest in something else, because even if crypto does come crashing down, in the moment you'll be fine. Even if you think crypto will continue going up, then just you keep hodling. You hodl. You don't. That's the most important thing. Another key element is emotions are the enemy to investors, right? And Warren Buffett says, "Be greedy when everybody else is fearful. Be fearful when everybody else is greedy." So if you see the stocks are going up and up and up and up, we have this tendency to say like it's always going to go up. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's the same thing as like when we're feeling sad, I'm always going to feel sad. Life's not worth living. And then lo and behold, you get your shit together, you go for a run, you put some music, you eat well, you rest well, and then you start feeling better. And then you're like, oh my God, I feel amazing. I'm always going to feel amazing. And then something, that you didn't expect happens. So you're like, oh, sad again. So it's like, life is not permanent, right? And in many ways we do have agency, but the point is, be greedy when other people are fearful, meaning when the stock goes down, this is huge, this is how a lot of people make tons of money, is that truly, like, the value of the company sometimes is not correlated to the value that is seen in the price. So if you have an outstanding company that is just like, it's just because the whole market has crashed that the price of the stock has gone down, that's the time to go buy it, because inevitably the stock market keeps going up. So like throughout history, you see the graph that it is always going up. Even with the small crashes, it's still going up. So let's not start betting against them like Wall Street or the international like stock markets, because it just has been going up since forever. So even with the crashes, as we mentioned, and every time it crashes, it will still go back up. So again, just the best time to invest is when everybody else is fearful. Just honestly, do it. Obviously, make sure that the company that you're investing in, or I would say, even like, I personally wouldn't invest in companies per se, unless like I have that extra cash and I'm like, okay, that doesn't matter. Like I want to do it because like I know the people in this company and I just want to like, make it nice, whatever. Like it's so risky. So, why index funds are so important, I don't know if I mentioned them, but Warren Buffett says that the money that he is leaving for his family once he passes is only going to be put in index funds. Okay, why are index funds like so crucial, so important for people like you and I? Is because they're basically like a pool. So you have the most normal one, which is the Standard & Poor one, which is 500 companies, the top 500 companies in the world. And then if one of the companies drops and is no longer the top 500, then another one will come and resume that position. So that's just like the best. You just get a pool of outstanding companies that really deliver. Many times the index funds win the market anyway. So like if you would make like 1%, 2% interest on the money that you've invested in some other things, like the index fund, it was doing like 9, 10. But again, like it's not always the same. Like, it's like there's so many different indexes. Like one is like bonds from governments, which is basically you're lending to the government. And that used to be extremely safe. Because governments, they're not just like, whoa, whoops, we went into huge debt. But obviously, even if they are, like it's a government, it's like not a company that's just like disappears. The country will still be there. However, because now a lot of countries are going into our fiat money. So fiat money means it's not backed by the gold standard. They can, with a central bank, central government can say like just keep printing, and then that creates inflation. And then really so it's the same thing if we want to understand it, that how in the past, like you could buy a house with $300,000 and now you need like way more than that to buy a house, obviously depending on but the point is that the value of money decreases with time, and that's like a constant as well. Like we always see that happening. It's the normal inflation thing that always happens. So some people are like, oh, but I don't want to invest because I'm scared of that, I don't understand it. Like it is our responsibility to be invested emotionally, like in our actions in investing. Why? Because even if you just put your money in the bank account and you say like, oh, that's going to be safe, it's not. Okay, because with what we just mentioned, which is inflation. And this is things that I've just learned. So if I've just learned it and I don't have a degree in that, like please do your own research, because this is not telling you like what you should do. This is saying like how important this is for everybody. And this is just meant to like entice you to like do, like be excited about, the possibility of what we can do with our money. One thing that really helps me understand why it's important to make money is because yes, of course, to survive. But, some people were born with money and you have this huge guilt, or we may have this huge guilt of like, fuck, I don't deserve to have money because, if with inheritance, I would be fine. But that's not true. Like we all must make money because it is another way of our personal development on this green earth. There's this nice Japanese way of looking at making about the concept of making money, which is you say thank you when money comes in and thank you when money leaves, and you are merely a conduit. And this helped me understand so much like the power of money. Then the reason why I want to keep making money is obviously not just for myself to cover my basic living conditions and hopefully save some money for future if I were to have kids, or then you get to choose where you want to direct that money. So for instance, if I deeply, deeply, deeply care about animals, I can choose that a percentage of my income is going to donations, which is, you can say like 10%, which is tithing. Some religions have this, and it is, it just changes your life because you feel so grateful. It makes me teary-eyed to just comprehend that I can help, even if it's just like however small, you're still impacting someone's life or an animal's like future, and it just makes you feel so wonderful inside. I mean, that doesn't make it justice. It's just do it at least one month and see how that the powerful effect that has. Because a lot of the times we don't invest because we're like, oh, but I really don't have that much money. Like I don't have that much money in order to like give it away. So the point is like we don't want to give so much money that we then are in trouble, but like a small percentage, then that helps us, like it just helps us feel more grateful for what we have. And I don't know, supposedly it brings more money, more abundance into your life, which I think is true. Like if we're like our energies match what's coming into us, like by donating a small percentage of our income, then our energy is in the attitude of gratitude and abundance, because like you do feel like you're so abundant because you were able to help someone out. And then that makes sense why money would come flowing in, because you already match the vibrations of abundance. Anyway, so going back to this. Babe, quickly before going back to this, it's nobody gets, well, very, very few people, outstanding business people, get wealthy, extremely wealthy, through a business, through their business. But actually, the vast majority of us, in order to be wealthy, we need to invest. That's just like the way to, like, especially if you have like if it's not your business, then really like it's exceedingly hard to become wealthy through just a paycheck that you receive each month. You want to make your money work for you when you're asleep, which is why this is important. And again, it's not just so I can be greedy, I have all the money in the world, which, I mean, if that's your jam, totally, that's fine. But it's that idea that you can like help stop global warming. You can donate to have more vaccines in impoverished, developing countries. I come from a developing country. Yeah, sorry, apologies if that wasn't a PC town. Okay, going back to this graph. So this is the perfect timing. So if you have an outstanding person who is always putting the money in at the correct time, putting the money out, getting the money out at the right time, which happens, I guess. This one is when you just invest immediately, now. It's just the second one. The third one, that's a dollar cost averaging. And then, this is when you're like, oh, but I'm so unlucky. This is bad timing. This is putting the money at your worst time possible in the year, and then getting the money at the worst time, getting the money out at the worst time possible of the year. Like, just don't take the money out unless, like, you know for a fact this thing is doomed. But like the majority of people get scared when things start crashing down, and they take out the money when that's actually the time when we should be leaning into the discomfort. And again, emotions are the worst enemy of any investor. So yoga, breathe in, and cold focus. Okay, and then this is when you just have cash. Like, you know, it's just stay in cash investments. Cash is like the worst thing nowadays, especially with like inflation going up and up and up. If you stay, going back to the idea of like the bank, if you put like $10,000, let's go to a smaller number. You just put $100 in your bank account, and you don't take it out for 20 yees. Yes, you will grow a little bit. Say, like, for instance, the interest rates now are so bad anyway. What is the average interest rate on savings? Okay, 0.03. Oh my God, and I was giving this 1.1, 0.03. This is crazy. Oh my God, this is terrible. Okay, so if you put $100 and you just, you know, make sure the interest rate is 0.03, and you keep the money in the bank. So through compound investing, then you have 100, and then anyway, the point is, then you at the end of 20 years, apologies if my math is incorrect, but I think the message stays true, which is, I know the message is that you would end up with something like 2,060 bucks, and apologies if the math's not correct, but point is, like, it just doesn't make sense to keep your money in your bank account, because the interest rate is so small that in many cases, actually, like, the inflation is going up so high that, and then the interest rate is lower, so the money that you end up at the end is worth less than you had at the beginning many times, or at least the same. And so, as in, like, it's not that you would suddenly get 90, you would lose $10 out of your 100. That's not it. It's just the value of that 100 is less because of inflation, right? So in the past, again, we could buy a house for 300,000. Now you can't buy a house for 300,000. Depends obviously on the area, but just stick with the idea that through inflation, that's what happens. So even if you put the money and you think it's like safe, no, reality check, like the bank is using your money to invest. So they are taking the risk with your money. And there's a lot of banks that have been actually in several lawsuits because they've been exceedingly tricky. Okay, not cool. Another thing to be careful with is, and this is I'm gonna end with this, and I'm just learning, so please, it's everyone's responsibility, and this is by no means oh, this is what you should do, but definitely entice you to let's learn about this. This is great. We can go donate money to whatever charity we want. Okay, or yourself, go help out yourself as well, which is what I saw during the pandemic. I saw this person that had a lot of money just straight up donate oxygen factories and save people, and literally like a superhero, just because they had the extra cash to do that, and obviously the big heart to do that. But how could you not? But anyway, fees. And another thing that if you have a lot of money, this is what happens very sadly. If you have a lot of money, you might be approached by someone that's oh, I can actively manage, it's like an actively managed fund. Don't do this because that's how you can lose a lot of your money. So basically, the why index funds are awesome, because they're not actively managed, so the fee is really small. That way your money is safe, and it is making a lot of money in return. Again, don't just stick with one index fund, have a bunch, so that again, if you have a tech index fund that have all the tech companies, and tech companies suddenly don't go that well. That kind of sounds weird at this point, but if that happens, then you're still, you can have other set of companies in another sector of the industry. Okay, so why not actively manage funds? Because basically these companies, these actively managed funds, they just give you tons of fees that you don't even understand why they're there for. For instance, every time they make a transaction for you, they charge you, and that's that's their job. It's they'll charge you a fee for something that's the job description. Aside from there's maintenance fees, there's managerial expenses and stuff like that, and it can grow up to 4% or 3%, and that just decimates your money. In the long run, you will probably lose 2/3 of the money that you would have made anyway. If you have an index fund, you would have say 100 and then, or 99, and then by the end of your investment period, which again, hodl, and if you're doing it with an actively managed fund, then you would get 33 instead of 99. So it's just it shouldn't be that way. It shouldn't really be that way. But again, this is more for if you have a lot of money. If you're starting out, again, I would say just index funds. If you crypto that you think is worth it, that you think has intrinsic value, again, Warren Buffett does have a book about how to analyze the value of a company. So with crypto, again, it's not just what's trending, because that's how you can easily lose money, but really understanding what and having your own criteria of what you think is worth it. But this is what I've learned so far. Again, this is just to entice us to keep learning. Again, nobody cares more about our money than we do. So let's go make some money and donate and make this world a better place in doing so.